Okay. Well, welcome to Camera Club, people from Green Valley. This is our weekly multimedia special interest group meeting today. This is Grace, your host substitute for Jean. And Phil is also taking care of our YouTube situation. So welcome everybody. And let's see what happens, and let's see who has something to share. Anybody? Kevin. Okay.
I do, but if somebody else has got something and wants to go first, that would be fine with me.
Let's see. Pat, you have your hand up? I see a hand. Oh, no. That hand is my cursor. So sorry about that. Well, Kevin, why don't you go ahead?
I took some of my time lapses that I've done over the years and put them together in a little video. It's about 3.5 minutes or so. It's not terribly long. And so in each of the sections that you'll see in the top left corner, there is a title, so you'll know what location it is. So let's take a look at that. Hang on. Okay, there you go.
Wow.
Wow. I love the music, Kevin. That just really made it feel like you were going fast.
Yeah, I think that's part of the fun, of doing any of these sort of videos that, we do like this is trying to find some music that you think is appropriate and really works with whatever you're doing. So to me, that's a big part of the fun once you get a project going is, okay, what music am I thinking? And a lot of times I've had stuff where I thought, oh, this is going to be a great song. And then I try it and I'm like, wow, I don't like this at all. And then you go look for something else. So that's part of the fun.
And the time consuming part.
It can be, it definitely can be. I think it just depends. Sometimes you get lucky and, you maybe hit on something right away. Other times, as you said, you can sit there and listen and listen and listen. And next thing you know, an hour or two has passed and you still haven't found the right song.
I did see one misspell.
Oh.
Dakota was misspelled, but
That doesn't surprise me. I'm a horrible speller, but I will fix that. Thank you.
it was so cool.
Where
I loved
did you-
seeing that receptor thing that was moving. It's like I've never seen it move, and in the fast time lapse thing, how it was like going up and down. I don't know what you call that thing, but that big antenna type thing.
Oh, the very large array is
Yeah.
over in New Mexico and about halfway in the state. And if you ever get the opportunity to go over there, it's free. You can go on the site. I mean, you can't go right up next to those radio telescopes, but literally you're right there, and they've got a nice little museum and stuff there too. So if you're ever over that way, I highly recommend it. It's very fun.
Really cool.
Kevin, what kind of timing did you use on your time lapse?
In terms of how many frames and stuff like that, the one thing that I've learned about these is that if the clouds are moving slow, you can maybe do a shot every 10, 15 seconds. If the clouds are moving faster, I found you've really got to, about every couple of seconds or every 2 or 3 seconds, have a shot. I can remember one time that when I first started doing these, and the clouds were moving fairly fast and I didn't even realize it. And I'd set it for about every 10 seconds. And oh my gosh, the clouds are just, and it's like, it doesn't look good. So I think you're always better to have more shots than less shots in terms of per minute. And it gives it that smoothness to the clouds and stuff as they kind of form. So it's just, I think a lot of it's just trial and error.
Kevin, I've never done time lapse, but I'm curious then, so you set your camera obviously up on a tripod, then how long is it going for some of those pictures from morning to night? And
Sure.
is it 24 hours that you have that
No.
actually set up, or?
No. Usually if you're doing like a daylight to nighttime shot, I'd say maybe be there an hour or two before sunset, usually about an hour after the sun goes down. And I mean, all the way down. And you're just as a quick reference, Barb, like if I was going to shoot a shot outside of a cityscape or something like that, about 20 minutes after the sun goes down is pretty much your optimum time. The lights of the city are coming up and the ambient light is at a low enough level. So normally I would say maybe an hour and a half after the sun goes down would be more than sufficient. The other goodie that I will highly recommend, and I learned this the hard way, the one that you saw with the soda pops from Oklahoma. Well, I'm standing out in the middle of this field for like 3 hours. There's nowhere to sit. I didn't bring any sort of a folding chair or anything. And at one point I was sitting on the ground for about 5 minutes and I'm like, okay, this is crazy. And I'm just standing there, and that was a big lesson learned. So if you're ever going to try something, bring a folding chair of some kind and then just sit back and watch it do its thing.
So you're manning the camera the whole time, that whatever length it is. So if you did a 12-hour shot, you're sitting right there by the.
You bet. You bet. I mean, yeah, I would never be anywhere and leave that camera set up and then go get a coffee or something and come back unless you had somebody to watch the camera, because somebody's going to come up and see that camera on the tripod, nobody around, and say, boy, here's a nice Christmas present. So
Even when
definitely,
you're
I would
standing
definitely
there-
man it.
Even when you're standing there, people are going to see the camera, hear it go click every now and then, and they're going to walk up, they're going to want to touch. Be prepared to be a football linebacker.
I would agree with that. Although I've been pretty fortunate to not have people come up. They maybe ask what you're doing, but not necessarily get up. They might get up within a few feet of it and are just kind of looking at the camera. But usually I'd say people are, at least in my case, have been very respectful of whatever you're trying to do. But not a bad idea.
There's also the guy that knows what you're doing and then walks out and stands in front of it. Oh, I didn't see you back there. And I've tossed a few sequences because of that.
I've
That's why
had,
we like to go out in the middle of nowhere
yes,
and do these.
I would agree. On the one that I did from Arches National Park, I had some guy come up for a frame or two and of course mug in front of the camera while I was able to pull those out. But it does happen, but I'd say it's pretty rare.
I'm curious, what's the longest you've recorded a time lapse?
I did one, and I didn't show it in this one because it didn't work out, but I want to say I did one up in, oh God, I can't think of over in Arizona, on the Indian Territory, there's a park there. Off the top of my head, I can't think of the name. I did it for probably about 8 hours,
Wow.
which was great. The only issue was, and this is the other lesson that I learned big time, I had not turned the autofocus off on the camera. Well, at one point, it just, and you never know because you're not watching it or you're not looking through the lens. It popped out of focus. And so there went 8 hours right down the tube. So unfortunately, a lot of the one good thing is a lot of these things that we try to do, it's trial and error. You do it, you make a mistake, and then you go, you know what? I'm going to put that in my notebook. And the next time, I'm bringing a folding chair. I'm turning the autofocus off. I'm watching for any idiots that are going to get in front of the camera. And so anyway, that was one that was pretty long. I would also suggest if you're going to go out for 2, 3, 4 hours to do this, you might want to go to the bathroom if you're by yourself before you get out there.
Kevin?
Did you shoot in JPEG or RAW?
Peg, I'm shooting in RAW, and that's because I want to be able to adjust later on when I get back and see it on the computer. The one good thing about doing them now versus, let's say, 5-10 years ago, before cards in the camera got bigger, you really had to be very careful of how long you were going, because in a RAW format, you're eating up a lot of memory.
Right.
So you can do JPEG, but I like I said, I would prefer to be able to come back and see it and make any sort of changes, because the color can shift. If you have your white balance set to auto white, well, it's going to shift during the course of the time lapse, especially a daytime to nighttime. So I want to be able to adjust that when I get back.
And your camera settings?
Well, there is a I think it's AV mode, which is the aperture priority.
Uh-huh.
And that mode, you set the f-stop, let's say at f5, 6 or f8 or whatever it is. And then as the light, it starts to go to dark, that's going to increase that shutter speed. And so you'll start to have, it might be a thousandth of a second, let's say, when you start. Well, then as it starts to get to nighttime, you're down to a second and 10, 15, and eventually my camera will go to 30 seconds. So, and then by that point, your time lapse is about over if you're starting to get in exposures like that. but AV is the way to go. And I also learned that lesson one time. I had it set to the shutter priority, did not realize it. You know, they're all lessons learned.
Kevin, how many stills did you import into your movie editor, and how long was each one?
Well, all I'm doing is I'm processing the images, Zero, in Photoshop, and then in QuickTime, at least on the Mac, and I don't know about, I'm sure in a PC, there's probably some way to do it. You can have QuickTime create the movie for you, and it does it just within a matter of a minute, which is great. So then you can take that movie, you save it as a MPEG-4 or a .mov, a QuickTime, and then you just import those sequences into the editor. So really, it doesn't take any time at all.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody's done one on a PC and has any knowledge of that. Have you, Brian? What do you do?
I've been changing over the last few months. I used to take the raw images into After Effects and create the time lapse there. I found a simpler way to do it. Adobe Bridge is free. You can get Adobe Camera Raw. So you adjust your stuff there. You export it to a JPEG, and I found a free compiler put by Microsoft called, what is this? Time Lapse Creator. You just tell it where the folder is with the JPEGs in it, and it goes and it grabs them in about a minute. You've got a time lapse. It's time lapse for the masses. It's pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, things like that probably, Cyril, would, you know, make things a lot easier instead of, I can't imagine dragging 1,000 or 2,000 pictures into an editor and having to mess with that. So much easier.
I did one yesterday with just over 500 shots, and it takes longer to do the raw to JPEG than anything else. It grinds away. Yeah, you go get a book or go for a walk.
Not bad.
Thanks, Kevin.
Oh, that's great. Kevin, we've learned a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe
Where
too
did-
much.
Where was your music source?
Yeah.
Sarah, I've got there's a website I use for video, B-roll, and then also for audio. It's called Audio Blocks. It's about $150 a year for the music and about $150 for the video. And for stuff like this, I mean, there's a lot of other sources. The thing that I like about this Audio Blocks website is I can put in a genre of music, and I can also put in a bunch of other little specifics in terms of maybe the tempo of the music or the length of the music. And so in a case like this, I was looking for something that was a little bit more epic. And so I knew I was going to need something longer than 4 minutes. So I said, okay, show me everything over 4 minutes. And then I just started listening to the music from there. And the thing that's nice is you can listen to the first 10 seconds and you either know that's going to be nice or it's not. And the other goodie that I found too is sometimes something will start out really nice music wise, and then halfway through it gets a little funky or weird or something, and you're like, oh, okay, that's not going to work. So I think it's just a matter of get in, and you know, YouTube has got stuff, and I know there's a bunch of other sources for music, but this Audio Blocks that I use really is very nice and very easy.
Barb, you got into the Free Music Archive, didn't you?
You talking to me, Brian?
Yes.
And got into the free music, yes. There were sites that you had suggested, about 3 or 4 in one of the sessions I think we had in the SIG. And so I've gone into several of those. And even in those are all free. You can pick your genre of music and link the time on some of those websites, and even the type of instrument, if you're just looking for piano or guitar or something like that. So I've now started using that upon the recommendation of this SIG, and YouTube library, the audio library has a lot, and I found them very, I mean, you have to search and it takes a long time. That's the only thing, to find the right piece that you're looking for, but you can narrow it down.
It's easy to tell the people that put the effort into it versus those that just grabbed the first thing that came along and ran with it. But the Free Music Archive, for those of you that haven't been there, is a terrific resource. And if you're going through and you're looking for music and you hear something you like, it's not quite right for what you're working with, but it's nice anyway, download it and save it. I've probably got 20 or 30 gigabytes of saved music. I hardly ever go online to look for music anymore.
That's a great suggestion, Brian. I do the same thing. And like when I was pulling music for this thing, I probably pulled about 10 songs, and just like you, I downloaded them, and I'll have them in a folder and say, okay, this is the epic folder. And if you're going to go look for something, you've got it, and away you go, and it's royalty free and it's good forever. So that's a nice thing too.
While we're talking about audio, I wondered, especially Mac users, I am trying to improve my audio, so I got an external mic finally, and I've been watching YouTube on Audacity on how to use the editing in Audacity, but can this mic be used directly with iMovie, and is it likely it will improve the audio without the editing in iMovie? I mean, also it could be edited, but are any of you familiar with that? An external mic with iMovie?
No, but I'm sure you can pick your microphone.
I would assume that you could go ahead and record in iMovie, Holly, with that microphone. So like, you just go ahead and there's going to be probably some sort of an audio input asking you where you want to get that sound, and then just record a track, and then you could have that track and add that to your video later on.
Yeah, Kevin, do you use Audacity?
I do not.
Okay, I know Larry does, but he's not here today, but I will contact him too separately. Thanks.
You bet.
Hey, Ollie, is that microphone a USB mic, or is it an analog output?
It's a USB.
Okay. Yeah, it depends on the interface on the Mac, but it should work. It should be fine. In Audacity as well.
Yeah, I know it will connect with Audacity, and actually I know it connects with iMovie, but the question, I guess, is my ear is not good. So does it actually improve the sound quality if I just use it directly with iMovie?
Sure it does. It depends on the room you're recording it in, and also depends on what you were using before.
I was just using the internal mic of the laptop.
Yeah, it's going to improve it, definitely.
Yeah, Ryan knows, he's heard it. Okay, well, we will see. I'll give you an example next time.
Yeah, well, use it in a room dissimilar to the one you're in now, because the one you're in now, it sounds pretty hollow. So the deader you can make the room, the better sound you're going to get out of the mic.
Yeah, it's too
that's a
cold
large
for
capsule.
the car these days.
What's that?
Brian, it's much too cold for the car these days.
Oh,
But
well, that's a
I'll
large
try
capsule condenser, so it's going to sound good.
Actually, I'll connect it now and we'll see if that makes a difference. But I have a good closet too with lots of stuff to muffle.
You can pick up a sheet of egg crate foam for not much money. I just got one. I'll be trying it out.
Okay, now it says my mic will be used. Can you hear any difference?
Yes, it is
Yeah.
different.
Much
A
better.
little bit.
Really? Oh, that's great. Is it better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
In what way?
Not as echoey.
Duller.
Oh, great.
Well, it's not as hollow.
Uh-huh.
Mostly because it's closer to you.
Yeah, and I can move it a little closer yet. Well, that's great. Perfect. Thank you.
So what kind of a mic did you get?
It's a Fifine Technologies, Fifine, and it's just a little simple USB connected mic. I think it was about $30. But that it makes a difference for that, I'm very pleased already.
Yeah, I think it makes a difference just right now.
Terrific. Great.
Yeah.
I'll keep it plugged in then.
Okay, does anybody else have anything to share?
While we've got the critical ears all out here, I don't know why the mic on my little camera stopped working. So I ran away real quick and got, Harley, you're not the only one that's been getting, microphones here lately. So this just came in and I was hooking it up. How does it sound? Can anybody hear anything good or bad about it?
I mean, it sounds, I think because it's far away, you're picking up a lot of that hollowness and it's a little echoey in there. I would assume if you got it closer to you, it's going to sound better. Let's go to the closet and get another toy.
Here he goes. Larry should be here for this. He's a good sound guy.
Okay, test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. It's
A little
still
different.
No. How far are you away? A couple of feet? 18 inches?
From here, it's about 18.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
Brian, take that microphone, put it about 8 inches from your mouth and put that foam behind it. Then you will have some.
It's behind it now.
But you're working the mic too far away from you.
Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Is it Zoom, do you think?
Is it what?
Is it Zoom that it just,
who knows?
I mean, the sound just isn't real clean.
Okay, well, I'll be messing with it because we're going to be redoing a film and re-recording the voiceover. So maybe next week we'll have that ready to go.
Just work the mic closer to you, Brian. You know, I can't tell from the camera shot, but you know, it ought to be in the shot.
Okay, well, we'll be playing with it.
It doesn't sound like it's even working on. It sounds like you're coming off your PC or something, because it should sound a lot.
No.
Nope, it's not hooked. It's not hooked up.
Not on.
Test 1, 2.
Yeah, but when you tap the mic, we didn't hear it
I didn't
tap.
hear anything.
Yeah, you're not using that mic.
Well, the computer thinks I am. Let me turn it all the way down. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wonder if the live cam mic started working. Okay, well,
Okay,
got some playing to do.
Yeah.
Okay,
I've got a little computer, or a little mic too. This doesn't show real well.
It's just scary.
Hold
Background.
it right in front of your chest.
Oh, okay, there we go. So that's kind of fun, but I don't know how it does for sound anyway. But that's just what I've been using.
Okay.
You can hear it and it sounds great. As you get that mic close, you really can hear that the sound is nice. So I think
Yeah,
that
it's
was a
about-
great tip for everybody.
Maybe 8 inches, 10 inches.
Yeah, for voice, for recording, you've got to work that mic. And, you know, look at a musical performer. They're not singing across the room. They've got that mic, 6 to 10 inches away from their mouth. And
Yeah.
That's how you're going to get sound.
Cool.
It's called mic presence.
Awesome.
And
Okay.
it really did sound good when it was up close to you.
Awesome.
Anybody else have anything to share?
I could share a less than 2-minute video that I did on the iPhone. Totally made the video as well as recorded the scenes. And that's pre-mic and just using the phone. Want to see it?
Let's see it.
Sure.
Okay, here we go. Whoops, sorry.
Oh, nice.
That's it.
Nice.
Whoa, it
Oh,
started again. There we go.
nice.
Thank you.
Does that is that's playing on your computer? Is it? I'm assuming it's a Zoom thing. Is the video just seems kind of choppy?
Yeah.
Is it play nice and smooth on your computer or on your phone, Holly?
Well, I can't tell if it's pretty smooth on my computer on the phone, yes. But
Okay.
whether it's smoother than you see on Zoom, I can't really tell.
Well, you'll have to get back to us after looking at the recording of
Yeah.
the show and tell us if what we're seeing is the same thing that you're seeing or what you're seeing on your computer is better. That would be
Yeah.
nice
That-
to know.
Okay. That was the first time I used the phone to make a little movie. And I thought, why would anybody ever want to do that? But we were doing a bus tour and I had some downtime in the bus after I'd captured some video. So I thought, oh, I'll give it a try. And it was fun to do and quick.
Yeah, I've done those when we were traveling.
Yeah.
And yes, they're smoother than that, but the clips that the iMovie trailers use are on average 9 seconds. And so it moves very fast, even if it's smooth, whatever I can say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holly, I think it was your connection because as you were speaking, your frame would freeze from time to time.
That's true.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that probably was then. I keep getting messages that my internet is unstable.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's probably part of that.
I get those messages too, but not from the internet.
From what?
Whatever it is.
You had.
Where do you
Yeah.
get yours from, Pat?
That's true. I know what you mean. I'm with you, Peg.
Yeah, I get them from my doctor.
At least it's not from your spouse.
Does anybody else have anything to share? Any videos to share or impart any particular gems of knowledge?
Gems of knowledge. Oh, good.
We've got to get out and start shooting people. Come
Yeah.
on, let's get some stuff going here.
I know. So as you know, I just moved and there is a photography club here that meets on Zoom. I got the first invitation for Wednesday, but I met one guy and talked and got an email from another who who they are using a program called Capture One Pro 21. That must be this year's edition. And I have not heard anybody in our camera club mention that photo editor. And these are people who've gone from Photoshop and Lightroom to using Capture One Pro, and it's not a free program. So what, does anybody know anything?
I do. I've got it. It's a good program. There's a lot of, not to get weirdly technical, but there's a lot of things that it does well. There's other things that it doesn't seem to do as well. And if you're comfortable with a program, it's hard for your mind to go from program to program. So as an example, I use Photoshop and I love Photoshop. There's things that Capture One does not do that Photoshop does do. And so I think it's just one of those things where if you start with a program and you stick with it, you get comfortable with the program and all the things that it does. It is a very technical program. So it does take a lot of trial and error working on some stuff.
I get a feeling some of these guys are pretty technical. So, and one comment was about the Photoshop and Lightroom and Adobe when they went to the subscription version, that they've been throwing out some upgrades that are pretty buggy. Have any of you experienced that?
That's one of the main reasons that I'm leaving Premiere Pro. Every time they upgrade it, I'm starting over again on some stuff because it just crashes and crashes. And the tech support, well, I'm sure he's very happy to be my friend and to help me, but I've gotten some horrible tech support out of them. The only drawback from going to Resolve is I had 6 or 8 years of muscle memory built into Premiere Pro. Yeah. It's a little frustrating there, but I'm making pretty good progress. There are things that Resolve does that Premiere Pro doesn't do as well, like stabilization. Camera stabilization, it's one click and it's instantly almost, and it does a better job than Premiere. So
Premiere is getting really bad reps on the internet. People are complaining about Premiere and Adobe on the internet all the time. I don't know what's going on, but I completely agree with you.
Yeah, and Resolve has got a heck of a knowledge base on YouTube. You look around and you can find a couple of guys that really know what they're doing, and they'll respond to questions in the comments section.
And you can buy Resolve and get it for free.
Yeah.
I mean, and you don't have to pay.
Yeah.
It's not the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, it's free. I should have gone here years ago.
Grace, there's a program that's out there. I'm not sure of the exact name. It's a Photoshop type program, and I'm not a guy that does the subscriptions either. So like the Photoshop I'm using is CS6, so I bought it. I don't have to pay for updates or anything. The same with Final Cut. I buy it. I don't have to use it. But there is I think it's called Infinity or something like that. I'll look it up and I'll send you a link for it. I've got a graphics buddy in Illinois that just loves this program. It's only $50. He said it's as powerful as Photoshop, and they've got other softwares. I don't know if they have video editing, but they have like an Illustrator type, Adobe Illustrator type program and everything else. And he swears by it. So I'll find it when we're done today and send you a link. Yeah. And maybe you could share that with the class or with some of your photo people too.
Right. Well, yeah,
Kevin,
I have the whole suite of CS6, and it's on an old laptop because I can't upgrade the operating system any further because they stopped playing nice at that point. So that's why I keep that computer around, is because of the CS6. Because I use Illustrator and I use InDesign, and those are the two things. I'm a subscriber now to Photoshop and Lightroom, but it was the InDesign I didn't want to lose, and Illustrator. So
Infinity is the name of
Kevin,
the
did
program.
you?
I'm sorry,
Kevin,
go ahead, Holly.
Did you say you used Final Cut?
Yes, Holly, I do. I
And
love
that
it.
you purchased, right?
You're correct. That's the beauty of it.
And
Oh, go ahead.
you find it a lot better than just iMovie?
Oh, it's insanely better. I mean, it's
Okay.
going back. There's a lot of, long story short, but the old Final Cut from Final Cut 1 to Final Cut 7 was a different style. About 4 or 5 years ago, Apple came out with Final Cut 10, and it was kind of iMovie based. A lot of design or video editors did not like the program because it was too much like iMovie. And I'll tell you, there was a real learning curve to go from Final Cut 7 to go to Final Cut 10. But now that I've been using Final Cut 10 for these last 4 years, I absolutely love it. It does everything that I want it to do. Like Brian was talking about stabilization. They've got some different stabilization buttons that you can click on the video. If it's a little shaky, it's amazing what it does. And so for anybody that's on an Apple, I think it's around $400. Like I said, I haven't bought it in years, but anyway, I'm very happy with the program. It does a great job for me.
Are the upgrades free?
Yes, they are. You gotta love that.
So if Kevin, if you're an educator, you can get a discount on all of the programs that Apple offers, Final Cut, Logic Pro, etc. I think for just a couple $100, you get the whole package.
Nice.
There's some, I've tried that, and I'm an educator, and they are pretty picky about your verification that you're an educator.
Not anymore, they're not. I did it about a year ago, and they didn't even, my wife was an educator, and I was prepared to use her thing. They didn't even ask me about it. And I asked them about that. Don't you guys check this anymore? And they said no.
Thank you, Sarah.
It probably cost more to check it than it was worth.
Probably, yeah. Okay. Well, I've been considering.
Grace, one thing. I too have had a severe amount of angst in leaving InDesign behind, because I was using it when it was PageMaker back in the early 90s.
Me too. Yep.
But I have found a free alternative called Scribus. 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 Scribus.
Yeah.
It looks promising. I've just started messing with it. It's free. Have a look at that. It's for Photoshop. My alternative is GIMP, which a lot of you I'm sure have heard of before. Bridge and Adobe Camera Raw you still can get for free, but I'm about this far from canceling that Adobe subscription, and I am going to cancel. It's just when now.
Oh. Well, if you're using an Adobe subscription that includes InDesign, you're paying a heck of a lot of money.
Oh yeah, I got the full ride.
Yeah. Okay, Scribus, I will look into it. And does that use styles and all of that?
Not deep enough into it to tell you the definitive answer to that, but it looks like it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And I would like another version to use as opposed to Illustrator also at some point in time. But we're branching out of the video thing now. So let's get back to see if anybody else has any videos to show or share. Nobody? Okay, well, nothing else to share, huh? Okay,
Try for next week.
we'll try for next week. Brian, did you hear my question about taking notes? Did you take notes? If not, I'll try and assemble whatever I've done.
Well, this is recorded, so people should just watch the recording.
Okay,
Makes sense.
all right. Well, we'll see what we can put out, okay?
Just
So-
a note. Probably all got your vaccinations, yes, but if not, you can get it now up in Tucson Medical Center, and you can get on and do a reservation. We've got appointments in February 3rd.
I've got one Wednesday here in New York.
For what age?
Oh,
75 and older.
excuse me.
Well,
You're not old
75
enough.
and older trumps my pre-existing conditions, I guess.
Oregon's kind of,
We're supposed to get ours here at La Posada the end of the week. We'll see. Because they have 700.
New York is doing 65 and up.
Well, we just make it, yeah, here.
Yeah. Right.
But they have, about 700 to give because of the residents and the staff. So
Yeah.
they're taking 3 days and it's through CVS, and let's hope it works. I was almost afraid to mention it because if I mention it, it would be jinxed. But anyway, we'll hope it works.
Yeah,
yeah,
you need the booster too.
Right.
Well, that'll be there in a couple of weeks. I think we're getting the Moderna. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I could take videos of them shooting it.
There you go.
well, at least a selfie, Peg, that's the popular thing to do.
A selfie, okay.
Peg, you should put a story together. Do a little video about, maybe
My
interview people and stuff. That would
My
be
problem
fun.
is I use a iPad, which is the Mac product, to see all you people. But I do all my editing and everything on a PC. And my PC is a little older, and I'm not sure it shows the video as well.
Hmm.
And also, I lost Pro Show Gold, although I have a copy, I could still try it. So I get confused. I go from a Mac to a PC. I know you shouldn't do it, but how else can I see you? So there you are.
There you are. Well, an iPad isn't exactly a Mac, it's just a tablet.
Well,
Works
I
different.
don't really want to buy a Mac though.
I use both. My desktop and laptop are PCs and I have an iPad.
Mhm.
So I don't see any difference.
Yeah.
Well, you're better than
It's just using
I'm-
it to get used to it, using it enough to get used to it. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway. No.
I was interested in the, I think I missed the lesson with the free music archive. Do I just go on the Google and do free music archive?
Hang on a second, I'll get you an address. Okay, it's all one word, freemusicarchive.org, rather. And search the FMA. Yeah, I see the search thing coming up. Yeah, that should do it.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, I got a question, and nobody here may be able to answer it because I don't know who's doing this, but what happened to the multimedia information pages on the website? Because I would have told you
what,
just go
Brian?
to multimedia pages and look at all the music resources there, but I can no longer find them.
It's been linked to the Apricot website and you can't get to the regular old website anymore.
No.
Except that
We canceled that.
those pages are available in the Apricot. We redid them for Apricot. So who's doing this now?
Then I would suggest you contact Phil and see if he can help you.
Phil's there. Maybe he walked away.
He's sleeping.
He's incognito.
Yes.
Now, he probably is on to other things.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Holly, you reviewed those pages, so you know what it is. Back when we first did them. But that's where a lot of resources at least used to be. Web addresses and, never mind, all sorts of stuff.
Right. Yeah. The last I knew, there was a small group, maybe Jim Roberts, are you still here someplace? No, I guess not. But anyway, a small group was reviewing and revising that website. And
We
it
canceled
had
it.
to do with wild apricots. So probably Phil is the one to know how it links. There he is. Jim, do you know the status of the website now? Not the wild apricot, but the other?
Not really. I know there was some other people that kind of took it over
I
after
do.
Gary left it.
Linda does. Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
The board
Good.
voted to discontinue it. We have
Okay,
no access
so
to that website again.
Do you know where those documents that were on it are available?
No.
Okay, I bet Phil does have them or can make them available. I bet, but I
Phil-
can't speak for him.
Bill talked to me at the beginning of this meeting because I was looking to get into it to find something that I had done.
He heard his name.
My ears are burning.
Yeah.
There we go.
There he is.
The whatever web pages you put out on Apricot are still on Apricot. They're just not linked into the menu structure.
Okay.
Now,
who
what
does
about the
that?
ones they put in on that other website?
The ones on the DEV website
Yeah.
are still there until March 1st, at which point we won't have a hosting plan anymore. And as I talked with Jim Roberts, it's still there. We're just using a function that forwards everything to the Apricot webpage. And after this meeting, I'm going to go out and I'm going to disable the forwarding so you'll be able to get to Dev. And then when Jim is done with it, he's going to tell me that he's done, and I'm going to put the forwarding back in place again. But the board approved, because of the fact the first page that you see is made with a bit of software that we purchased from a company that no longer supports it. And so it can no longer be updated. So we can't update the web page anymore. And so we decided to abandon that and move all the useful stuff that we could identify over to the Apricot page.
We did we duplicated what was on the old website in Apricot, but it's not been posted. Who does that?
That would be me. And if you can identify what it is that you want over there, I will put it there. There's dozens of web pages that are out there that are not linked from days gone by. So give me a clue and I'll put a menu item up at the top of the navigation bar and we can go from there. I had no idea whether that was a test or exactly what. I've seen it out there, but I had no idea what the import of it was.
Okay, I'll review what we had, fix what needs it, and give you a title to look at.
Okay,
There was
sounds good.
one on how to do a travelogue that people have asked me for. Actually, it was Showtime and Travelogue.
Well, the multimedia section would seem to be a good place for them to go look.
Yes, it would.
Okay, well, we've got some connections that just got made. It's kind of hard to let things go that you have used for a number of years and move them over. But I commend you. I think Wild Apricot's doing well. It seems to be a nice, friendly user interface. So anyway, well, we're
Definitely.
getting
Thanks,
close.
Grace. Thanks for doing this.
Okay, you bet.
Thank you, Phil, for all you do.
Oh, you're welcome.
This,
Yeah. Thanks
This
for the
was-
last minute, Phil, on this one. Yeah.
this was
No
very informative. Thank you, Kevin, for all the information you gave us
Yeah,
on
it's
the
good.
time lapse.
Yes, definitely. It was great.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay.
Thanks, Linda. Happy to do it.
Good.
Take care. We can stop the recordings now, I think, probably.
Thanks, Grace, for running this.
Thank you, Grace.
You're welcome.
Bye.